Hi, my name is Huy Troung, sketch card artist, and you're listening to Marvel Card Collectors Podcast.
Natural conversation to have. I'm scrolling eBay, and it bugs. This bugs the shit out of me. Okay, so there's a listing that's come up: Daredevil Vintage Comics, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. Not CGC, Marvel Comics Daredevil. There's two words. So I get the second part, having Daredevil as two words, but then if someone's into Daredevil, they'd never search for it in two separate words. So it's kind of like a bit shit.
Right.
But the bit that bugs me is the fact that it's come up under a search for CGC books. And it's clearly a lot of 5 raw books. So don't put not CGC in the title. It's like, if I'm looking for CGC books, I want to find CGC books. I don't want
Exactly.
to find your lame ass mid-grade lot of nothing. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I'm just vexed at this guy putting not CGC in almost all his listing titles. What's that all about?
Why do you think that is, though?
Well, he clearly wants to catch. He clearly wants to catch people who have got CGC in their search thing. He's trying to draw more eyes onto his. It's a keyword thing onto his listing. But it just winds me up. I mean, I wouldn't. I mean, he's in America, so whether or not he will post to me or not, I wouldn't buy from him after that. Just
Right.
just because he's annoyed me, which sounds.
That happens a lot where just the way something's listed and the way someone,
Yeah,
tries to pass something off one way or another, we're just
yeah,
lazy at these things too.
yeah,
What is this guy doing?
yeah. And I see it, and I tell you what, I do see it. I see it on PSA. Sometimes people will just put the initials PSA into their listing title, and the listing won't be for a PSA card at all, and it's not
No,
even mentioned
no,
anywhere else.
people just throw hashes or whatever you want to call it into the
Yeah,
title just to get the grabs,
yeah.
and then you open it up and it's not that one at all.
It's just like, as far as I'm concerned, it's false
Well, how many
advertising.
searches? How many searches will you do where it's not even a Deadpool card or a Wolverine card, and Deadpool or Wolverine is in the header for it?
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Exactly, exactly. I mean, I don't search for either. I'll be honest with you. Um, there's so many characters. I mean, I know there are people. I know some collectors do this. They spend a lot of their time just searching around for stuff, like whether it's their character or not. You know, and seem to have an encyclopedic knowledge of what things are out there. I just haven't got enough time in my day. I don't know about you.
I don't at all, especially now.
Especially now. All right. Well, you know what? I'm going to kick us off, and then you can tell me why, especially now, because because that's the kind of guy that I am. Hello, everybody. My name is Ian Taylor, and you are listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast, your weekly digest of hobby goodness. Now, I'm going to try this one off the cuff because I haven't written it down, but it is here in my brain, so it could go horribly wrong. So, my mate Keith was round the other day, and I said, let's go for a pint. So, we went to the pub. And I said, what do you want? He goes, I fancy a beer. What are them crazy continental lagers you guys have over here? So I went up to the bar and I said, barman, I'd like you to give me 2 pints of Nastro Azzurro, please. And he said, certainly, sir, coming right up. A few moments later, he comes back with the pints, puts them down on the counter as I'm reaching for my wallet. Someone else reaches for one of them, and I go, my friend, that's Keith's Peroni.
I hate you.
Thank you very much for laughing. The check is in the mail. But so
That's the
welcome.
first time someone's tried that with my name. So I've heard, pepperoni, macaroni, and all the Ronies you could think of.
All the Ronies he could think of,
The first time someone bearded me.
including the Bobby Brown song from his 1991 album. Is it 91 or 89? Anyway, Keith Speroni. Am I pronouncing that correctly for a start?
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Good, good, good. Where's that surname come from?
So it's definitely from an Italian surname. I know that we have a vineyard out there from 17 families later in Italy. I
Okay.
haven't run it all down and figured out the exact area. I know my parents have done the DNA tracking and all that stuff, and they've got everything. But I myself haven't seen it firsthand and gone through it and dug into it. But
Okay.
it's clearly Italian.
All right. Have you still got any kind of stake in said vineyard and therefore some
Yeah, of
income due?
course.
Oh,
Unless someone knocks on my door and shows up and says, "Hey, everybody's been offed and killed. You're what's left." Um, but for all natural intentions, the last time I looked it up and my father and I spoke, my father and I are probably the last two in America.
oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Males in America. Sorry, because my sister and my mom. But
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. So, you're in, where are you? You're New Jersey, aren't you?
Jersey boy.
Jersey boy. Okay. And we were talking about comics, and I asked you if you were into comics, and you said that's how you got here. Um, and then you said something about not having enough time for it. So what do you do? What's your gig? What do you do to earn a crust?
So for my profession, I work for U.S. Foods, which is a distribution company that basically provides restaurants with all of their products from start to finish, whether it be paper products, food products, the French fries to the
Yeah,
solo
yeah,
cups. We do POS and things like that. We do menus, we do everything. We do it all. That's basically part of our whole shtick is that we do it all. We're not
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
your supplier. We want to help you across every facet of it.
yeah, yeah.
And prior to that, I had 18 years on the other side of it, working in the restaurants. I worked for Applebee's, which I loved. It was great. And then just you get to a certain point and you have to make a decision in life, and you're not moving
Mm,
up anymore. And decided to start over at 40, whether it was a life crisis thing or what. And it's been a rough first year, but now it's been a better decision for me, and I'm very happy I did it. It's given me
good.
back a lot of my quality time that I didn't have before.
Oh, good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Working in kitchens. I did about 18 months as a kitchen porter when I first moved to London in a French style restaurant and authentically French as well. So good grief, I didn't have to scrub them pans after the stock had been made for like 2 days, on the boil with all sorts of stuff. So yeah, I can certainly appreciate that life. Um, wow. Okay. So you came in via comics and things. So were you so when how long have you been into the cards?
Cards happened probably during the whole COVID period, um, early into it.
Yep.
We went into lockdown. I went back to reading some of my old comics. And it really started with Simone, because I got into a thing where I needed first. I'm more of a comic reader than a collector. I
Okay.
want to read. I want to read them all.
Hmm.
I'll pay for the online subscription and stuff like that. But if there's a cover I really like, then I'll go buy it, the physical
Gotcha.
copy of it.
Yeah, yeah.
So I started getting into it that way, and I'd been collecting comics for the longest time, just to read the stories. I'm all about the stories.
Yeah.
Uh, and Simone, his art was amazing, and I loved it. And I just got into this rabbit hole. I was like, I want more Simone. So where am I going to get more Simone? So I started Googling Simone Bianchi art, and all of a sudden I see cards, and I'm like, oh, I have cards like a long time ago. And then the everything started. Then I found the masterpieces, and then it got rough. I started buying
Mm.
boxes, and back then, when it first started, those boxes were like 400 boxes, $400 boxes. So I was like, one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, 8 to 12 boxes deep,
Wow.
uh, loving this stuff. The first box I ever opened, I hit a Huy Troung sketch card of Rogue, and that also kicked off a whole nother segue of where I was going
Yeah.
to, because I didn't know that existed. I didn't know that you could get original art
Mm.
like that. And then I soon you find out that it's not all it's not all Huey Trong in every box, but that initial hit is what hooked me on the other side of it, not just the okay, let me get all these Simone pieces and organize them and make a whole card collection out of them and try to
Yeah.
master that set. But then also, wow, these sketch cards are really cool too. So there I went on to eBay, and we just spoke about eBay. and I started Googling and just buying sketch after sketch after sketch after sketch. And it was so cool then because I was getting, I have a Gainy Gene. It's on my Instagram that is just absolutely gorgeous that I got for like $80.
Mm.
And you could not for a million years find this card again for $80 unless somebody, lists it at a wrong
Yeah.
time. Lucky. So so that's how I got here. Yeah. And then I found the group, right? Um, Wanted to find more and met a bunch of friends, had fun with it, and now here I am speaking to you.
You are. So we've we've kind of messaged on and off for a couple of years now about various stuff. And I've always appreciated your candid take on things time to times, and your ability to come in and be a voice of reason amongst let's just say less cool heads prevailing at moments like that. So, but I've been wanting to talk to you for a while, but then you sent me a message a couple of months ago, and I think it's fairly safe to say, based on the message, that you're having somewhat of a I think they have it in the church with priests and bishops. You're having somewhat of a crisis of faith. Would that be fair to say?
That could be probably, you couldn't have nailed a better word for it.
Okay, all right, all right. Well, Reverend Speroni, we will get into it. Sum up to me what you're. I mean, I've got the message here, and I could read it out, but it is quite a long one. And to be honest with you, I'd rather hear it straight from you. So, what's your? I mean, you said as a collector, I'm now lost. Speak to me. How you feeling?
So, so like I said, I jumped in with 2018, and I was able to get that whole set. I was able to not like the bigger cards, but I've got a holofoil. I've got the gold sig. I've got a regular set. I've got the battle specters. I've got everything I want from that set.
Yeah.
Even 2016, I was able to get everything I wanted from that set to have fun with it. With pretty much since right around X-Men Metal, which is the last time I feel like I had fun collecting, it's become more and more difficult just as a set collector to get everything that you want from that. Um,
Hmm.
and I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start anymore. I'm lost, right? Like, so they've added parallels, they've added variants,
Yeah.
uh, and even on that aspect, you just want to just get the set and you just want to have a base. Even if I have the 1 to 82, right? Am I right? 1 to 83. I don't even
Oh, it's his
tier
masterpiece.
four,
He's 1 to 81. Yeah, yeah. Tiers one
right?
to
One
three.
to
Yeah.
81.
Mm.
So I don't like. I'm not even needing the tier four as much as I'd love to have it. I don't need it, but it's just getting harder and harder to get to where you want to get as a
Mm.
collector and what you want in your set.
Yeah.
Um, and then you go the other way and you say, hey, I'll be a character collector, right? I came in wanting to collect Gambit, and I learned very quickly that Gambit is not my character in this hobby, right? He is just not for me.
Yeah.
Uh, so I said, all right, I'll do X-23 because I'd read a lot about her and I liked her. Um, are we having a video
I can
issue?
hear you, but your camera's gone down. So I was just kind of letting you go and waiting until a moment, but because I didn't want to interrupt your flow
I'm sorry.
of mental beautiness. But what I can do is for this little bit of the video, I could always overlay a little picture of Keith into that side. I could quite happily do that actually. I could have quite a lot of fun with that. In fact, what I'll do is I'll put a bottle of Peroni beer on that side of the screen for the bit where your camera's not on. Should we do that?
We can do that.
We can do that. And basically, effectively, for the YouTube version, because of course this will go out on audio as well. For the YouTube version, that'll be like us buying everyone a pint, is the way I like to think of that.
Oh, round of beers.
Yeah, round of beers, basically. Yeah, yeah. So I was going to say, don't stress about it. Let's just keep going. If it comes back, it comes back. Or if you've tripped over a plug, then we'll just leave it. Oh, there he is.
Just gonna switch cameras.
Ah,
So yeah, what I was saying was I came in as a Gambit person because I've got Gambit tattooed to my leg,
oh
right?
wow, okay.
That's how I am about Gambit.
Mm.
But I learned quickly that he is not the character to collect in this hobby. He's just not.
Mm.
It's not going to work out for me. Here and there, I'll get something I like, which I did. I have a beautiful Liddy sketch that I was able to acquire, but I was like, all right, I'll do X-23, right? Because I liked her story. I loved her comics. I collected everything about her. I knew all about her and her lore, and I got into her. And it was great for X-Men Metal. And then all of a sudden, now I'm dealing with, a whole nother pool. Like, as you collect in this hobby, the biggest thing I noticed is that more people are coming in that want your character,
Yeah.
which makes it harder to collect your character. And at the same time, what Upper Deck is doing and creating parallels and variants and things like that, it becomes even harder to do the fun stuff like collect rainbows and things like that.
Yeah.
Um, so, like I said, how the hell do I collect? What do I
Mm.
want? What do I need?
Mm.
And you really have a life. I've had like a card crisis moment where I've decided that first I have to calm down. Right, I don't need it right when it comes out. That's something that I learned very quickly. I don't need it when it comes out. It'll come to me, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. It needs to
Mm.
be really how you collect in this hobby. Because if you don't, you're going to regret a lot of things, or you're going to find that you overpay for things,
Yeah.
or you get mentally frustrated with it.
Yeah.
So you really got to find something that you have fun with, right? That's the biggest thing. You have to have fun doing what you're doing. And I found that in one of the stupidest ways possible in X-Men Metal. Um, I have the Richter Rainbow. The
Okay.
I have the for anybody that's wondering what character and card we're talking about. This ugly ass card.
Oh, I don't even know who that is.
That is the Richter High series.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
All right. He has a bottle of cola
Okay.
in his hands,
All right.
and no one knows what he's doing. So during rips and getting into them, I consistently stumbled onto Richter, and it was the Richter Pink, then the Richter Red, and then this, and then this, and then this. And anytime I bought into one, I found Richter, and I just started laughing about it. I was like, you know what? That's fine. That'll be
Yeah.
my character. And I was 3/4 of the way done, and I rainbowed it. I've got the plates, I've got the one of one, I've got the green, I've got the pink, I've got every single card you could have
Nice. Nice.
from that. And that was the probably the last time I had fun. When I think
Okay.
about it, since then it's frustrating.
Mm. Yeah. It is a tough one. I think that the one of the challenges, and the Upper Deck episode from a couple of weeks back will highlight this more than anything, is just the all of a sudden it's like they've 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 opened the dam gates and there's just like a flood of products coming down. Um, which if you're I mean, I don't know, are you just kind of like a comic art, an original art kind of set collector, or do you ever go anywhere near the MCU stuff?
I don't like the MCU stuff. It's just not for me.
Fair enough.
Um, I like it, but it's not for me.
Yeah.
Especially in a world where there's so much, and like I said, I had to scale down what I was
Yeah.
collecting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Um, it's just not for me. That's all.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So even with that, you've still got at least a dozen sets this year that could potentially fall into your realm of collecting. So are you do you I'm just trying to think, is it when you go in for a set, are you one of those collectors that likes to have a full set?
I like to have a full base set, 100%.
Right.
If I like the set, I want all of it.
Yeah.
And then, that's the initial ask is to get that. And then I'll
Mm.
figure out what subset I might like a lot. Like, for
Hmm.
example, in this new set, I am in love with the preliminary art set. Absolutely in love with it. Um, and I went through the same thing in 2018. I didn't go through it as much in 2020 or 20. Was there even that in
No,
2016?
no, no. There's only been three.
Yeah.
2018 was the first.
Yeah. Um, so this, if that's the set I'm going to collect, it's going to be that. I don't need the full base color set um, of the Dos Santos stuff, but I would really like to get my hands on a full PA set. I
Mm.
think that it's magnificent, honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, from my perspective, I mean, listen, I'm not I don't want to come across as like Dr. Ian. I prescribe that you do this, that, and the other, and your collecting woes will be cured. But just my take on it is that's a very, very sensible way to approach it, because you've kind of chosen an element of the set, which means you're not going to be trying to do this and this and this at the same time, even within the realms of just one set. That can be quite a crazy thing. Um, so I think that's definitely the right way to go with it. Um, but you do, with so much coming out, and obviously for most people, I'd say maybe 98% of people that we see in the groups, there is a finite budget. There's a couple of people in the group who can clearly spend a very large amount of money without breaking a sweat or increasing their pulse rate. But most of us aren't in that boat. I'm not. I'm pretty sure you're probably not. Um, so you kind of that's your first limitation, I guess. Um, have you
Ian,
found?
I just found out I need a roof, and the roofer wouldn't take this BSG as the payment. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, why wouldn't you want this to replace my roof?
Yeah, don't you know? Don't you know how much it's worth? And he
Yeah,
goes,
this is yeah.
yes, no. I believe you're still holding on to what it might have been worth 2 years ago, sir. But now, now I won't even refix the flashing around your bathroom. Um, so yeah, that's a whole other conversation. So have you found yourself ditching any elements that you've already collected, or you just kind of
Yes, because I also made the mistake of buying things that I didn't need but liked.
yeah, yeah.
And with the full transparency, with the expectation that I would later make a couple bucks on them,
Mm, mm,
right?
yep.
Use that to get the other stuff that I really want. Um, and that hasn't panned out in many aspects too.
Mm,
So I really like I made all of the mistakes that a new collector in this hobby will make.
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I'm sitting here right now. If I could flip the camera, looking at a desk full of cards, 50% of them I could care less about.
yeah,
But in
yeah,
order to, you're not going to make any money on them, so you just box them up and chill on them, right?
yeah. Well,
You know,
I mean, that'd be the first thing I'd do is get them out of your eyesight.
yeah,
Just
right,
keep the stuff in front of you that you actually want and that you
right.
like, um, which has been my kind of thing. I've to the point at which there are certain things I've got, like I've got a binder down there of Fleer Ultra X-Men 95. It's a beautiful binder. It's an absolutely gorgeous set. I'm not an X-Men guy. There are tens of thousands of those sets and binders out there. You know, I don't need it. If I want it, I can get it again, and it's not going to break the bank. So I'm giving it to fellow X23 collector Jake in the UK, because it's just easy for me to ship it to him, and he did me a favor. So I just need to actually sort my shit out and get it in a box and get it over to him. So, I'd much rather it went somewhere where it was being enjoyed than just sat here and, effectively speaking, take up room. Um,
And you said something great there in that you can get it again,
yeah,
right? Eugene, who, God, I mean, we love him. Um, he had that same advice for me when I was recently selling something, and we were talking about pricing and how to price it.
yeah.
It's like, listen, he's like, if you need the money, sell it for whatever. He's like, just sell it. He's
Mm,
like, because you're going to be able to get that again. That's not something that's going to disappear on you. It's
yeah.
not a 1 of 1. It's not a 1 of 5. He's like, you can easily recover that if you ever need to.
Mm,
So you know what? That's a good way to think about it
yeah,
when listing or when trying to price something out.
yeah, yeah. I mean, my take on it has always been, funnily enough, I've been mulling this over the past few weeks. I've decided to sell my entire comic collection, which is a big deal for me because I'm not someone who read them digitally. I do like the tangibility of them and the physicality of them, because that's something that I remember from when I first picked them up when I was 9, 10, 11, whatever age it was. The few that made it over to a UK shop, proper American Marvel comics. I remember picking them up and being like, and just the physicality of holding them is still a big deal for me. So for me to do that is quite a move. But I realized, I'm not getting any younger. I've got maybe 1,800 books in there in about 12 to 16 long boxes. I haven't got time to read them. I mean, genuinely, I don't have time in my life to
But
read
you
them.
already read them too.
Well, no, that's the thing. I haven't read all of them, you know. So,
How do you do that? Wait, hold on. How do you buy a book and not read it?
because life, either work or in the last few years, with a
No,
kid, you know.
no, I won't accept that. You
Yeah.
can read a comic in one sitting in the loo. I used the loo for you.
Oh, no, 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 no. I can't do that. I can't read a comic in the loo because chances are someone will be like, "Where's Daddy? What's he doing?" Or my
So
wife will
there's
be,
no private space.
no, seriously. No, I can't. I have to. I did go before COVID. I was keeping up with it pretty well, actually. Whenever I'd go on a work trip, and this would be day trips to London or stuff like that. Before COVID, I used to travel maybe 3 days a week for my job. I'd be going to a client's office in London or to our London office or to our office in the Midlands or to a client in Doncaster, which would be an overnight. I'd cram in, dozen books, take them with me, you know, and, be able to read them. But yeah, it's weirdly since COVID, COVID was the start of it, actually. I stopped all my new stuff coming in, all that stopped overnight. Um, and then yeah, and I've just not gone back to it. But the interesting thing is, I think it's a format thing for me because I have been acquiring some stuff that I parted with before and a few things that I still own in trade format, or if it's something I really like, I'll get a hardback. And I've been really, really enjoying reading that. And I just find that in the time I've got in the layout of our house and just the dynamics of our home, it's easier for me to sit down and read a hardback copy of it than it is to constantly be taking, peeling back the
Pulling it
tape,
out of the
pulling it
sleeve. Right,
out,
right, right.
taking it out. If it's an older book, being very careful with it. Although the smell, I mean, the smell of an old book, you can't get rid of that. So, I was thinking, you know what? I know exactly what to do with the space. And here's the thing. This is why I started telling you that story. I can say that I owned them and I enjoyed owning them. Do you see what I mean? I remember reading the issue 800 of Amazing Spider-Man and absolutely loving it. I can remember reading um, collector's item classics.
There's something to that physicality too. Like I said before, that I read digitally now for the
Yeah, yeah.
most part, and that happened during COVID. Unless it's a cover like, but there's something to the fact that like I know that I got Deadpool #1 after I left karate class. It was the Circle Chase issue,
Hmm.
um, black cover, and then I know I also picked up a pack of Marvel Flair,
Yeah.
in the box with the sleeve box.
Hmm.
Um, you remember that, like there's something tangible to that where
Oh,
you
yeah.
remember where you were, what you were doing. And that's really one of the coolest parts of the hobby, is the nostalgia
Mm,
aspect that really just hits on your strings and
mm,
remembers where you were that day.
yeah,
Don't get it with
exactly.
the digital aspect.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I've kept. What have I kept? I mean, I deliberately haven't cherry picked the good stuff out the box just to keep that because otherwise it's got no value if I'm going to resell it as a lot, which I will do. Um, but I've probably kept. I had doubles of the Amazing Spider-Man hologram issues from the 30th anniversary, so I already had a double set of those so I've kept that double set. I've kept Generation X issue 1 chromium cover,
Got
which
that.
I love. Um, I already had I'd already offloaded all my Spawn a few years ago, so I still have my Spawn #1, so I've got that. And I've got a handful of things like DC Star Trek #1, just a couple of books that I really, really dig. Um, but funnily enough, this ties back into Simone. I used to have a lot of I've never been a big X-Men reader, but Astonishing X-Men, the Josh Whedon run, it was one of those accessible things for a non-X-Men reader. And so was, to a degree, although it was pretty full on, House of X, Powers of X the other year. I loved that. Um, Absolutely loved it. Um, and
Thank
I,
you.
what's that?
If there's one thing that I tell anybody to read in comics right now, it's that hardcover, that House
Yeah,
of X, House of X.
yeah.
It is, and I've reread it 6, 7, 8 times. Like
Mm,
it is by far one of the greatest things they've done in X-Men comics, in my opinion.
yes.
I love it. I love what they did with it, and I love
Yeah.
that you just said that you've actually read it because I
Yeah.
recommend it 100 times to anybody. I've
Oh,
bought copies of it and sent it to collector friends of ours just because I'm like, you need to read
yeah.
this. Like I'm
Yeah.
done telling you, you need to read this because it's freaking great.
Yeah. 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 No, I absolutely love it. I mean, and the other thing I've kept is Marvels, the original Marvels run, Alex Ross, because it's just, I mean, if you're going to sell a Marvel comic collection, keep Marvels because it kind of covers a lot of it in
Right.
one go. But this will circle back round. So Astonishing X-Men, and then I did carry on, and that was I didn't know it at the time because I didn't circle back and put two and two together in my head. But after the Whedon run, Warren Ellis did a short run, and Simone Bianchi was the artist,
Mm-hmm.
and the story was Ghost Box.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was a spin-off two-issue called Ghost Boxes
Correct.
that spun off from that, and that was very dark. Um, and so I about a week ago, no, about 10 days ago, I just suddenly remembered. Okay, yes, I remember really enjoying that, and I found the hardcover collection of Ghost Box because I think it's out of print at the moment. I found it on eBay for a decent price, and I got that, and it's next to my two hardback editions of Astonishing X-Men 1 to 24, the Whedon run. Um, and I'm about halfway through it, reread at the moment, and it's just so good. And it's interesting now that I'm going back to it well over 10 years since it was first came out, looking at it and thinking this must have been one of Simone's first big gigs with Marvel, clearly.
Correct. As
Um,
he came in on the Whedon run,
yeah.
and from
Um,
there, yeah,
and I remember, and then I feel like I've gone a full circle with that because I've been going through as people listen to it last week's episode with Josh James Kennedy Smith, we went on a bit of a tear of Bianchi appreciation, talking about MM 2018, and I've just been really revisiting that a lot at the moment, and in doing so, it's kind of moved my headspace on a bit as a collector in that I I'm less about the chasing of stuff that's new out there at the moment and more about enjoying what I've got. If that makes sense. It's taken a
yes.
bit of time for me to get to that place, but that's kind of where I am with the comics. Is that the stories that I really like and the artwork, I'm reacquiring those in collected editions, and I can read and re-enjoy them.
So what's happened to me is that I uh, poorly procured these and saved them in shoe boxes. I was, under 20, right? And they're all in shoe boxes. They're not all in bags and boards.
Mm.
It's a mess, but there's 30 to 50 shoe boxes that I've been week by week saving from my parents' house. I call them rescuing. And
Yeah,
then home and I spend a weekend and I get the boards and bags and I do what I can. I'm not interested in grading. I'm not interested in all of that's not going to happen with some of these.
yeah, yeah,
Um, the ones that I knew when I bought them, like anything with a foil cover or a hard cover, that I forget the issue number, but that jail cell cover Spider-Man is a big one for a lot of people.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um, anything like that was already boarded and bagged when I got it. But this new stuff, as I'm pulling it out of the box and boarded, I'm just sitting there and I'm losing a day, like just, oh God, I remember this story,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's another part of it. Like you said, you remember the stories, you get back into them, and you appreciate what you have,
Mm,
and you don't even know some of the stuff you have because you just you were a kid when you collected some of this stuff.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's been a lot of fun for me. Is it has been sealing up, boarding and bagging all of the books that have been very, very, very poorly kept in an attic in a shoebox
Mm,
at my parents' house. So
mm.
that's part of the fun for sure.
It is. And I guess you can turn that lens onto the cards because what I remember at the beginning of the year, maybe tail end of last year, an episode where Norrin was still on the show, and I think I said something about the fact that if I'm ever kind of a bit overwhelmed or a bit unsure about what to collect or where I am in my headspace with collecting, and I made kind of a flippant like allegory to the Bible. I go back to the book. I go back to the binders. I open the binders and I look through them and I think, okay, I kind of try to reconnect with stuff that I know I really love. And sometimes in the process of doing so, I realize actually, maybe I don't really love it. Maybe I've got it just for the sake of having it. So, you can have those moments as well.
That with the cards more than anything for me,
Yeah,
100%,
yeah.
100%.
So I think with that, I think one of the things I would do is just take it out of circulation, put it
Right,
somewhere else,
right.
you know, so that you're surrounding yourself with the stuff that gives you pleasure to look at and pleasure to do that. That whole process of storage with cards. I've massively enjoyed that this year. I've had an absolute ball, actually sorting, getting storage things, getting, one touches for cards I really like, graded copies of cards I really like, and just enjoying it that way. Um, without have I'm spending more money probably on storage stuff than I am on fresh cards at some
For
points.
sure. But I will say with the cards, it's a lot easier than it is with the books. It's a lot easier and it's a lot quicker to get through, but you also get a lot more of a blast to your face, like, oh wow, this is what this set was. Like
Yeah,
I go through it with X-Men Metal. It's such a recent set, and it's not like I'm not gonna sing songs of praise for the set. It's got its issues, but like when I go back to it and look at it, I'm like, wow, like we cried and bitched and moaned about this set so much.
yeah,
And then you look at some of the stuff that's come out since then, and it's like, wow, I really didn't appreciate this in the time at
yeah,
all. And I'll
yeah,
say the same for other sets. I'm sure that, Spider-Man Metal and, the annuals and such that have come since then. I'll probably say the same thing about them down the road as we're at a newer set. But I think it's a very underappreciated set that we took for granted at a time where we were just lost as far as collectors. Like, what do we
yeah,
do?
yeah.
It was right during COVID. It brought so many of us together. It's why I'm here,
Mm,
right? Because it led me into, like I said, I started with Simone, the 18, and the next thing I knew, I was on breaks, and now I've got a whole set of X-Men Metal and tons of parallels and variants that I never thought I'd have. It's really fun to go back and dig into those older sets.
yeah, yeah. But
Have to, you really have to.
yeah, you do. But I tell you what's interesting is you clearly have had a personal connection to a point in time and an experience you went through that wasn't just the card. So it was an experience of meeting people. It was an experience of
For
of
sure.
learning stuff. And you will always have that emotional connection to that set. And it could have been Spider-Man Metal that came out that year. It could have been that set. It could have
Right.
been an annual set. Just do you see what I mean? I'm not. I,
You're
I,
right.
I'm the same. Marvel Annual 2018-19. I had an absolute ton of fun with that set. I made friends on that set who are friends to this day and will be forevermore, hopefully. Um, and I had fun with it, and I remember enjoying it, and I love the cards. Are they the best cards ever? No, but I love them. And when
Not a
I
best.
look at them and when I sort them and when I hold them, they give me the warm and fuzzies because I remember experiencing, you know, collecting that product with other people,
Right.
many of whom I've never met.
Right.
Such as,
How's that for you? Like that's quite interesting for you. Like, I went to Comic-Con last year and I had the benefit of meeting a bevy of people, in
mm,
person, from the Norins to the Fullers, Justin,
is that New
God, who
York? Yeah,
Jacob, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
Jacob. There was a handful of people. Eugene, my God,
mm.
I saw him at Nationals with Amanda and Billy. Like, how's that like for you as a collector and a member of the hobby? Like, when are you coming over? Is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, it's fucking weird.
We get
Well, I was over. When was I last over? I was last over summer 22, in Boston. So I got to meet up with Matt Fuller and Pankit, and I went to my first American con, Boston Fan Expo, and that was a blast. And then later in the trip, I had a rather nice lunch with Jose Solaris, really good dude. and I was supposed to meet up with Ben Berry, but we couldn't hook it up. He's the guy that runs the EPAC trading group.
Okay.
Really nice guy, and he's in Boston as well. So I do. I was hoping to come over this year, but it never happened. For various reasons, all of them centered around the economy and our weak ass government and what they've done to it. So as a result, I'm significantly poorer. So I wasn't able to come. But listen, I tell you the weird thing is that there are an awful lot of people who in the hobby who don't even in America don't really meet up with other people and don't kind of have that opportunity. And I do find it interesting that the Discords, the Instagrams, the whatnots for those that are on there, the Facebook groups do kind of pull people together. I mean, you've got people in Australia who are in the group. I mean, let's think of an example.
I mean, my
Darren
best
Cochran in New
friends,
Zealand.
my best friends in the hobby,
Mm,
like I haven't met them in person yet. They're all
yeah,
in Colorado, Vegas, and Cali. So for me, on the other side of the coast, like
yeah,
it's I haven't met them yet.
yeah.
They've gone on trips together and hung out and stuff like that, and I've had to look from the side, in the window and just be like,
Yeah.
you guys are having fun.
Oh, good grief. Yeah. And listen, I have that feeling an awful lot because of time zones as well. I'll often wake up at the following morning and there's the whole meme where everyone's inside having fun and someone's on the outside of the glass pressing and going,
Yeah,
doing that. That there are mornings when I wake up and there's been loads of stuff going on and videos and breaks and stuff like that where I've been like, it does feel a little bit on the outs with it. Um, but that's just because everyone in America is suddenly now asleep, apart from maybe a few crazy mofo's on the Discord voice channels. But it's the nature of things. I'm in a different country, so it's not possible. I feel for the poor bastards in Australia, for example, because when the collectors over there, if they want to participate in a lot of this stuff, it's daytime for them, or early morning, and they got to be in the office. They
and
can't.
that was the thing too for me. FOMO doesn't just exist in a world where you're fearing of missing out of collecting. FOMO is also part of having a fear of missing out on the event. I
Yeah,
can't tell you how many times I stayed up late in a break just watching what other people were breaking.
yeah.
That I didn't want to miss it. I didn't want to miss when they
Mm,
hit whatever the hit was, and I
mm,
stayed up all hours of the day. And like I said, some of my friends are out in Cali and Vegas, and
yeah.
that stuff. So those breaks are happening at times where I should be way in bed
Mm.
because I've got a shift at 6 a.m. and there I am at 2:30
Oh,
still
yeah, yeah,
watching what's going on.
yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, it's. But I mean, I'm blessed in that there's some great people in the hobby that I didn't know 5 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 years ago. Um, I wouldn't have met fingers in the air you, for example, or Billy or Eugene or Amanda or any of those people. So from that point of view, I would say my circle of friends is wider now than it has been in a world where, for most fellas especially, their circle of friends diminishes as they get older. So it's a known thing with men's mental health is that men as they age make and retain fewer friends. It's the nature of things. So from that point of view, it's quite refreshing. But yes, how I would love to be able to go out for a pint and do a trade night on a regular basis. But
So when I'm putting you on the spot, when?
to America, honestly, it 100% depends on funds and family availability to, wing it around school holidays because I wouldn't do it on my own.
Right.
If I was going to come out to the States, unless it was a separate thing that didn't take away from us having a family holiday. Um, so yeah, honestly, I don't know. All depend. I mean, if I sell my comic collection, I'll be able to put a little bit more away in the pot for a, for a start. Um, but yeah, well, we were hoping possibly New York for Christmas 24. Um, and we were literally thinking of staying for Christmas and New Year, which I don't think would be cheap. But I've
I
always
think
wanted.
you'd love it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I've been to New York well over a dozen times.
Yeah, but you
I
haven't been
love it.
there during that time.
I haven't been there at Christmas. No, I've been there for Halloween, and that was fucking nuts. Um, oh, good grief! I'll never forget walking through Times Square and like passing a whole, a squadron of stormtroopers with Darth Vader and some little dude
But that
dressed as
doesn't happen
Vader.
during Halloween. That's in the middle of July.
Well, I went in July as well, and my goodness me, it was so hot. Oh, good grief. So yeah, I'll never do that again. My birthday's 24th July, and I once went to New York for my birthday. And there's no way I'm coming to New York in July again. It was just, I mean, I think it was a particularly spicy year, but it was just ridiculous. Um, so I think I get why everyone tends to fuck off to the Hamptons. Including you, no doubt. So you're how far down are you in New Jersey? You top end or you lower down?
So I'm right in the middle. If you've ever, I have to roll my eyes. If you've ever seen the show Jersey Shore, right?
I haven't. I haven't. I'm a Kevin Smith fan, and I know Red Bank. So
Okay. So Red
yeah.
Bank's about 20 minutes from me.
Okay.
Um, and then if you've ever seen the show Jersey Shore, which was all about Paulie D and all that stuff, I'm about 15 minutes from the
Okay.
seaside.
Right.
So it's a shore town that I'm in right now.
Uh-huh.
I have a beach and all that stuff that I never visit because I take it for granted. Um, but yeah, I mean it's nice. I was originally from Staten Island. My parents almost like a Fresh Prince of Bel Air thing. I started getting into fights when I was around 10 and
Mm.
getting into trouble. And my parents were like, "We're moving to Jersey," and here we are. Moved out from them, obviously, but still, like it's Central Jersey. I'm 45 minutes from Atlantic City, so Nationals
Nice.
was an easy drive for me. Anytime there's anything going on in AC, it's a good time.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like Jersey. I've been there a few times. Um, there's an artist who's not currently active in sketch card, Scott Barnett, who lives in New Jersey. So I've met up with him
really.
a couple of times. Yeah, yeah, he's I think he's further up from you. But yeah, I've met up with him a couple of times, and I made the pilgrimage to the secret stash a couple of times, as it's kind of
Great spot,
referred to.
right?
It is, although they've moved now.
Yes.
They've moved location, but no, I still want to head. I still want to head down there again next time I'm there. So yes, definitely. I mean, I'll be over. It's just a question of when and how much it's going to cost. Because it's all a bit expensive these days, Keith. I won't lie to you. Do you want to buy a kidney?
I mean, what's not
What's
expensive,
not
Don?
expensive? No, it's ridiculous. I mean, I remember when I first went to New York in '99 on my own. Um, it was my return flight to New York was less than £300, which is well, if you use today's exchange rate, that's under $400.
Thank you, because you were
So
speaking Chinese for a minute.
yeah, I know. I could see your brain doing that whole like Russell Crowe calculation
Well,
thing.
I was about to go on to Google. I'm like, pounds to.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's about 1.2 at the moment, just a bit under. Although
See,
back
eBay
then,
does the work for me. When
well,
somebody
it
over
does,
there sells something, eBay does the work for me,
it does.
right?
Um, so back to your cards. So you've got piles of cards, and I guess it's like put it this way: what's coming up that you're tempted by?
Fleer Ultra Wolverine is going to be dangerous for me. It's going to be
Okay,
a problem
okay.
by
Is there
far.
is there anything else coming up that you're tempted by?
I mean, we're talking on a week that premiere hit, and I have seen some things that I wish I never saw.
Fair enough.
There are some sketches both on eBay and then obviously some of the artists, which I love the freedom of the artists lately to
Yeah.
post the form and say, "Hey, here's everything that I did," and to put the fear of God into everyone and say, "Oh my God, how am I going to
Oh
find
yeah.
that?" Like,
Yeah.
have you seen the Shadowcat box, the shadow box for her?
Yes, I've seen a couple went on eBay at you're absolutely kidding prices, so I'm going to wait. But yes,
Yeah, for sure. Those are great. Those shadow box sets, they look awesome. But yeah, so that's something that kind of scares me is what's going to end up coming out from that because, like I said, I became more. So I'm character collector, right? First and foremost
yeah,
is at 33, and then I'm also sketch collecting. And I'll
Okay.
sketch collect any sketch I really like. It usually is an X-Men sketch. Obviously, first and foremost, it's going to be an X-23 sketch.
Gotcha.
But Premiere has reignited a fear into me at the moment of
Wow.
what about what is out there.
Yeah.
Besides that, like I said, Fleer Ultra Wolverine is going to be a problem as an X-23 collector. I'm sure there's going to be a lot in there that I'm
Hmm.
going to have to deal with. I've been, I made a post a couple of weeks ago marked safe from X-Men Allegiance. There is not
Saw
one.
that. That made me laugh. That made
There was
I
not
LOL'd.
one X-23 card. She made a cameo on like a single card, but besides that, I was
Yeah.
good. Um, but no, it'll be a while. I anticipated, and I did bank a lot of money in this masterpieces run to buy boxes. I thought I was going to buy a case. Like I had a large sum of money set aside, and
Hmm.
then I saw the price, and I said, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. I'm going to scale back. I'm going to get a couple cards I need, the variants of X-23 I need, and I will get the base set separately, and I'll just chill. I
Yeah.
thought I thought I was going to be ripping for days. Like I had planned for a year for that set. And when the pricing came out how it did, I said, this is not, it's already not sensible to buy cards, period. It really isn't. But at that price, it became dangerously not acceptable to me.
Yeah. 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 There's always a so I have a ceiling over how much I'll be comfortable with paying for any card, whatever it is.
Right.
Generally speaking, if it goes over a certain amount, I'll just be like, ah. Because I think about the fact that, okay, and this is going to sound really silly, but at a certain point, the figure becomes such that, okay, actually, this is real money now. And I start to think, okay, that could pay for a small holiday
Right.
or,
That could go to New York.
yeah, well, yeah, it could certainly pay towards it. It certainly wouldn't cover the airfare anymore. But, it gets to that point. So, case in point, with this new Masterpieces set, the price point initially is up, so therefore everyone's expectations and market prices are up for stuff that pops out, especially the limited stuff, which is fine, and that will chill and it will fluctuate. But for stuff like printing plates, there's been one popped up so far for Black Cat. It was $700, and I'm straight away. I'm like, no, I can't do it. I can't spend $700 on one thing. Much as I love printing plates, and I own almost half of the ones that have been ever
Is it a
made for Black
booklet
Cat.
this time, or is it an individual?
No, no, individuals. So mercifully, so one might pop out, but the first one, it came out and it's gone at that price. So that and it kind of sets the mark, if you see what I mean. So but and I'm kind of like, okay, fair enough. I'm out, and I have to have that. The other thing I have to do is I have to have that with things like Spidey Metal was my kind of Fleer Ultra Wolverine for you in terms of Black Cat being like, you cut it in half and it bleeds Black Cat.
Right. Right.
Kind of. Obviously, it bleeds a lot of other things like Spider Man and Doctor Rock, but the greens, the green PMGs, was just no way. I was just like, nah, it's fine, leave it. I mean, I wasn't. Neither image is particularly reaching out and giving me a big wet sloppy kiss. So, you know,
I think you'll get
but
there with that, though.
well, I've got one of the reds. Can't remember which one. And I think I've got one of the of 25, which is what's that? Orange, I want to say. I think I got one of those. So, and I'll pick up one of the other reds.
125 turquoise is,
Turquoise is 50, I think.
I think so.
Yeah. So I think I've got one of the orange, and the other one I think I've got the turquoise, and I've got the red for one of them. So, I'll be able to nail it. But the thing is, if I see it and it's a decent price and I've got the money, I'll get it. But otherwise, I'm not actively chasing it.
What's the
You know,
most you've spent on a card?
it will be one card. It will be the Chris Evans Auto from Black Diamond. The
Okay.
it's a patch one from Paul Zenisek actually, and he did a reverse auction, so he started it at $1,300 or something like that, and I think it was each week or each day, it might have been week, he would drop it by $50.
And then you claimed it at the
and
point
then
that
I
you had
claimed it.
it.
Yeah, I think it was about 650, something like that.
Wow.
And that was the most I've ever spent. And to be honest with you, it will probably be the only Chris Evans auto I will ever own.
Right.
Um,
Interestingly enough, you asked me about MCU earlier, and of
yeah.
course I was chasing Ash sketches like an idiot, and I
Oh,
got
right. Okay.
black, and I got into Black Diamond, and I bought about 5 to 10 boxes of that stuff on ePack. And the best card I had, which I regret selling at the point that I did, but it is what it is. I had a Hemsworth out of 5 auto,
Oh,
and I
very
sold.
nice.
You know what? Not for nothing, I sold it for $1,400.
Well,
And
which is, you know, bloody good going. Where is it? Where Chris Evans? Come out, wherever you are. He's in here somewhere. Where is he? There he is.
that's freaking cool.
So, it's 11 of 25.
Now, what's your attachment to it? Do you love it? Like, is there a point where you'll see one go and say, I got to list mine? Like, what is your plan for that card?
To be honest with you, my plan for that card is intrinsically linked with my plans for all the other cards like it
Ah,
in that set. So, I Black Diamond is a temptress, quite frankly. I've become addicted to it and all of its facets. Although this is a diamond cutter, not a diamond facet. So I've been going a little bit to town on it. I won't lie.
and I'll tell you what, with
It's
with Black
stunning.
Diamond, when I was all said and done with it, like I threw it all on ComC, I priced it however it went, and it's all gone.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
I've got annual on there for days. I've got this, that, the other. Every set
yeah.
is on there for days on ComC. Just no one's buying it.
Hmm.
When I put the Black Diamond stuff on there and I just listed it at fair prices, gone. All of it
Yeah,
gone.
yeah, yeah. No, it's one. I mean, I'm dabbling with a box of pretty much everything this year. So I've got my What If box there. I've got my Loki one there. I've got the Allegiance one that I opened the other day. This is literally just fallen off the bottom of that box. So I've got Black Cat raining on me. Um, I,
Allegiance was a letdown for me.
I've got to
It
say,
really
I opened it and I've got absolutely no idea why. I'm
it's a set
I'm really
set in a
torn.
storyline that I really loved. It's that whole
Mm.
Phoenix storyline where everybody was a Phoenix at one point.
A versus X.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was a really good story. I have all the books from it.
Yeah.
And it's really kind of let me down what they did with it. I was really upset about the composition of the cards. Like they just felt very like they didn't extract the art the way they should have.
Mm,
And it just felt like they threw a panel on the card, a panel on a card, a panel on a
mm,
card.
mm,
Aside from a few inserts and things like that look
mm,
phenomenal,
mm,
but the base set just looked like, and it's got the panel lines on it even in some
mm,
pages, in some
mm.
instances. You can see that it's like part of a panel.
Yeah,
It's not like how they've done in other sets where they've extracted art.
yeah, yeah. It's an odd one. I mean, I thought the quality of it, the print quality was extraordinary, and the inserts look cool, but nothing about it for me at all. I'll trade or whatever that away as soon as I
Like I
can.
said,
You know.
mark safe.
Yeah. So, um, but it's interesting going back to the fact that immediately when I asked you that question, you were like Fluo Ultra Wolverine. So straight away, there's that focus, and I think it's important to have that. I can't think of actually I can think of a few sets that are coming out, and for me now because I dabble a little bit in the original art sets. If it's art that I really dig. So, for example, um, masterpieces, I always go for the masterpieces, and I know the set that I'm trying to build, and I'll be chipping away at that for years because I'm not in a rush. You know,
Platinum intrigues me.
platinum, platinum does intrigue me. I think the artwork is stunning because I've seen it, and people on here would have had the chance to see most of it as well because Grant kindly shared it during the recording. Um, I'm concerned Why am I concerned? I'm concerned with how the chromium effect will render the artwork.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm most concerned with how it's going to be presented,
yeah,
right? 'Cause, Fleer Ultra Avengers, I thought there was a lot of good art on there. It wasn't a set that I was going to chase at all, but they really like littered it up with backgrounds and foiling and
yeah,
things that they didn't need to do that really
yeah,
took away from the art.
yeah,
I'll even go to the current masterpieces in the preserved ambers. I think there's a lot of, as nice as they are, I think there's a lot of crap on the card that doesn't need to be there that makes it look
mm,
not as cool as it could.
mm.
So I'm worried about, like you said, what they'll do with the final print of those cards in
Yeah,
platinum because the
yeah.
art's there, right? Just leave the art alone. I say that a
They
lot
are
on
extraordinary.
I say that on a lot of cards, like leave the art alone.
Yeah,
And Upper Deck will throw this, that, and the other thing and a logo on top of it and kind of ruin it at the end of the
yeah,
day.
yeah. I think with the original art set, I'd say don't Fleer Ultra Avengers it because, quite frankly, the original art on that, I think it was. I would even go as far as to say some of it was insulting to the artist.
Correct.
Depending on the piece, it kind of gutted the impact it would have. Any of the depth, any of the composition on some of those pieces was just gone. Um, and I think it's a real shame because there's so much talent on that set. Um,
I
my worry is that Flair was a good example where they pared it back and it looked good for what it was. It kind of worked with the design of the set, but it wasn't too much. And on Flair 2019, the art was really allowed to kind of breathe a bit. I really hope that that's the case with Flair 23 or whenever it's due out. I think it's next year. It's due out. Um, because I think with masterpieces, they manage it well. Which is why I'm always a bit torn with the what if or the variant covers they talk about now because sometimes they don't work. Um, there's a
Yeah,
case in
sometimes it can get dirty and look silly.
Yeah. Well, case in point for me is it's one of the strongest images in the set is the um I think it's the tier 4 Phoenix that Simone did in Masterpieces 2018. But the what if version, I just really I don't think it works at all personally because of the choice of cover that they used and the way they framed it. For me anyway, I don't think it works. Um, but there are others that just absolutely nail it whenever they do a variant cover version of Spider-Gwen with that Edge of Spider-Verse title treatment. Chef's kisses, absolutely nails it.
How
You
about
know.
that Dave that just hit this week from Platinum?
Oh, the Ghost Spider is just phenomenal.
My God.
Dave Palumbo. Honestly, I saw that and it just made me want to sit up and beg. It was just gorgeous. And hats off to Dave on that one. I've told him so. I think it's astonishing. Um, and the Tom Taggart sculptures as well
Yeah.
that are just like I saw those. I was like, what am I seeing?
Just to see
And
a return, that's friggin' amazing.
it's only in the last week that I realized they're photographed sculptures
Yes.
because I've started following him on Instagram and I'm seeing like him with the sculptures. It's like, how have you made that? I've
Oh,
reached out to him to come onto the show, but I really want to talk to the guy.
by the way, when you come to New York again, we're only about an hour and a half from Mr. Palumbo, so we could maybe get him out for a pint too.
Oh yes, yes, yes. Well, listen, Dave doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who tie one on and end up
Now, well, we could get him out.
with his sneakers on a lamppost at 3 in the morning. But if I can achieve one thing in life, then it would be to get him absolutely shit faced at 3 in the morning. Um, I don't think that's his cup of tea. I don't think that's his cup of tea. Nor is it mine these days. I'm getting old. Um, but um, but yeah, so it's interesting. I think with that focus, the way to find that focus is just to try and I've said it before. People are probably sick of hearing it about it now. But this year, my focus has been to find the joy in all these sets and find an element. And in some sets, it's not there. So in Allegiance, it's not there for me at all.
Right.
There isn't a seam of joy in that I can mine. Not that it's a joyless set; it just doesn't speak to me. None of the aspects of it speak to me so far. Um, with when I'm looking ahead and I think of sets that I'm looking forward to, I'm looking forward to Hawkeye because I loved that show.
It was a great
So
show.
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that.
Watch Loki
I'm
this week?
what's that? Sorry.
Did you watch Loki this week?
No, I haven't had a chance to yet because work was kind of great. But I still haven't finished Secret Invasion. But then I've heard that from a few people.
That they haven't finished Secret Invasion?
Yeah, I got 2 episodes in. I was like,
It got better.
I mean, I will pick it up again. I'm just,
It's worth finishing.
yeah,
That's the best I can tell you. It's worth finishing.
it's worth finishing. That's what I say. No, so I can't say that. Anyway, I have have to be have to behave. Um, I'm really looking forward to. Strangely enough, they're not Marvel properties. I'm really looking forward to James Bond Black Diamond
Okay.
because it's a Black Diamond set focused on James Bond. And I know that with the license Upper Deck have, it has to be on card autos.
Oh wow.
The license holder insists, which is why with both James Bond and X Files, they were on card autos for the last few sets that Upper Deck put out. Because
I didn't know
that's
that.
yeah, and that's part of the contract that Upper Deck have to make those sets. That's one of the that's one of the obligations they have. So I'm looking forward to that, and I'm also looking forward to the Halo set that Upper Deck are about to bring out
Why?
because they've got Marvel the metal logo
Yeah.
on with Halo imagery, and it's
Interesting.
just that crossover of those two, and
Yeah.
I'm just like, have you seen the previews of it?
Yeah, I have. I have.
Yeah, as soon as I saw those, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, I'll have some of that. Um, because it just feels like two things blended together that work. Um, like with What If, there were so many elements of the What If set that worked because there were elements that blended.
I wish that they did that with like I love what they did with that. That set looks like somebody at Upper Deck finally got to just have fun, right?
And
They
they
just
did.
gave someone the keys to the car and said, "Go ahead, have fun." I wish there was more stuff in there I wanted to collect,
Yeah.
but there's just not, right? Because
Mm,
I'm X-Men, and X-Men first is my number one,
yeah.
and then obviously X-23 and things like that. So there's a lot of aspects of that just aren't featured because it's MCU right now at
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah.
But I love what they did with it. I think it was really cool that they just gave them the keys and said, "Hey,
It was.
make some inserts, have some fun with it." It feels like the first time someone's done something in a while where they weren't just trying to capitalize on a previous
Yeah.
insert or include an insert that didn't belong or
Yeah.
whatever.
And also, they were very clearly told you can't do autos, you can't do sketch cards. So all that budget went into the card design and the print quality. I mean, you got proper holograms.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
yeah, I might Peggy Carter it. I'm tempted. I've got someone who's after this on a trade, but I might do a
Allegiance has
Peggy Carter.
hollows too, though.
Not that I've seen. I haven't opened one.
They do. They have
Yes,
hollows.
yes. Um, but yeah, this one's just, I don't know. I mean, I might do, I might not. I mean, the thing is, this has got What If has got Black Diamond elements in as well, which I didn't manage to pull one of those.
Correct.
Um, but
And Battle
yeah,
Spectre.
yeah, I know it's all Battle Spectrum is the one I'm going for. So that is the thing. So from that set, it's the Battle Spectrum, and I'm putting it with my Masterpieces 22.
Did you ask, or did anybody ask that why they went from Spectra to Spectrum?
Didn't think to. Is the honest answer on that one. But I will add it to the list for the next time Grant comes on.
Like, well, like why?
Yeah. I mean, I understand why they went to variant cover because they had the What If set coming out. I get that.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. Weird. Who knows? Answers on a postcard, please. Um, so with your character collecting, how deep down the rabbit hole do you go? Are you like at the bonkers end of the spectrum where if there's a text mention of her on a card, you go for it?
No,
or no? Okay.
no, 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 no.
Do you have a
So
spreadsheet?
like, so like I said with, I don't have a spreadsheet. So like I said with Allegiance, where she's got like, there's a team picture where she's like on it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
see her like posing in some way. I don't need that card.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Right.
for me, it has to have, the aspects that I need. It has to be a picture I like. It's got to be, I have to like it, right? At the end of the
Hmm.
day, I have to like it. I don't need to collect it just because it is. So even like with annual and stuff like that, I didn't like the previous iteration of it. The current one I love. The most recent one, I think that one was great. The
Yeah.
last one, I wasn't a huge fan of. And even going back to, again, a callback, sorry if I talk about it too much, X-Men Metal, I wasn't a huge fan of her metal plates. I didn't like the art from it that much.
Yeah.
The High series I was in love with. That's the one I wanted every piece of. Um, unfortunately, a fellow friend of ours has made that impossible. He has the one of one. Um,
Is that northern wanker from England?
God, I have it in my notes. I think it might be F Booth, to be honest.
Oh, so it's not Jake. I thought we had an
No,
opportunity to just Jake.
no, 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 no.
No,
No, Jake and I.
he'll love
So
that.
so Jake, myself, and is it God? Why can't I think of his name right now? And another fellow. We have a group chat, an X-23 chat,
Oh,
where
nice.
where we kind of establish with each other who's going after what, who's going after this.
Gotcha. That's
Hey,
nice.
don't bid me up. I'm going for this one. I think that's an important thing for character collectors is to really link up and not treat them as your enemy. Actually,
Mm,
because it's a lot easier to do it that way instead of saying like, oh, everybody go after this card, and now we've priced ourselves into a world where it's just
yeah.
unmanageable. It's really cool to just have a side chat and just say, hey, what's your limit? Here's my limit. I'm going to
Mm,
go for it. Cool. I won't bid you up, and done.
yeah. No, that's cool. I mean, I've the interesting thing I've seen with Cat is that there were loads of collectors that suddenly were collecting Black Cat around Spidey Metal time, and I think all but two of them have kind of disappeared from from regular circulation, or at least posting about her. So but one of the
Ryan.
other.
It's Ryan Bonas. Sorry, I feel bad that I didn't remember his name.
Ah, right. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen his name right. There is a guy on. So there's Webby, who we had on the show. He's really into Black Cat. What's his Webby Vision? Yeah, Webby Vision. So we had him on, and there's another guy on Instagram, Black Cat Collecting. Here we go, Alberto Cervantes. That's a brilliant name. So what I'd love to do at some point is get Webby and Alberto on an episode, and just talk all things cat. Um, but at the very least, get one of those. That's a really great idea, actually, having a little chat just for that character.
Yeah,
Um,
and because not only that, they might have something that they're kind of done with that you might want,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Like I talk to Fuller all the time, and he's got a sizable X-23 collection as well,
Good
and
grief, yeah,
I've been able to get some things from him that he's just not attached to as much anymore, and
yeah.
been helpful to me. So at the least, it's definitely smart to do as a character collector to link up with these guys instead of treating
Oh,
them as
absolutely.
your
Did you
competition or your enemy.
did you see the Black Cat, the sketch I pulled from Masterpieces with
What you got?
X23 on? I'm just trying to find it. It's here somewhere. Where is it? I don't know. Hold the line, caller. I think it's over here. Where is it? Where is it? No, it's not in that pile. I don't know. I'm sure I would have thought you'd have seen it because I posted it on the group.
Yeah, I might not have seen it.
No, I have a feeling it's in the box in my office. So it's not actually in here at the moment. But yeah, I pulled a sketch of X23 versus Lady Deathstrike, I think.
Oh, cool.
Um, and I've had it on the group and I've got it on eBay as well. But if you need it, then we can definitely come to terms and I can get it in your hands. Um,
And that's one of the things with money too. And when I saw what masterpieces when it was going to be, I redirected that money
yeah.
and I went to commissions instead. Because like I said, I love sketches as well.
Mm.
And I just reached out to Idan, to Bella, to Simone and to Palumbo, and I said, hey, I'd like to do this instead with this money, and I set up a bunch of commissions, and I'm much
Nice.
happy with those results because you get to dictate how it goes.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Simone. Dear me. See, I've kind of come to the end. I think I've kind of come to the end of my sketch collecting journey. Um, unless something absolutely bonkers pops out. I had that trim down of sketches. I've got my core 79, and I'm kind of happy with that.
I've done more sketch collecting than regular collecting in the last year or so.
Yeah. But the thing is, you'll find as you go that will ebb and flow.
Right.
5 years time, it might be the other way around. For me, it's been the other way around for a long time, up to the point where I'm kind of okay not doing. Also, she's not in as many sketches because of
No.
approvals and the fact they don't release as many sketches now.
Yeah.
So, it's harder to
She's
find.
usually a bit revealing, so she gets denied from a lot
Yeah,
of guys.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy. I feel like I've done that journey with her. But so going forward then for you, I'm just going back to your plea that you sent me. Help me, help me. Um, which ended, so how the fuck do I collect? Um, I mean, you'll find your own answers, I guess, and I'm sure you sent this to me 2 months ago, so you might have already found some of the answers. It sounds to me like with you found your path through it.
Yeah, I still wish I could have gotten a box or two at a respectable price. I'm glad I didn't, though,
Mm.
because I was able to get what I needed for the most part. I'm still missing the autos, but I've got everything I need as far as X23 goes. Besides that,
Nice.
I've got the Mirage, the purple, the orange, the What If, the gold, and the regular. So I've got my girl. She's on lockdown.
Mm.
Um, and I'll figure out the base set down the line. Probably after EPAC, I'll get a nice cheap base set and put it aside. Um, but I won't be able to collect it the way I did the other ones. I am concerned that I won't get a holofoil set. I'm concerned that I won't get a canvas set, right? Those were very easy to acquire in previous sets, and
Oh, I
still,
think you will once CPAC hits.
I hope so.
Yeah.
At a fair price, I don't know. I don't see it. Like, what is your thoughts? Like, is it because it's so fresh and the cost, or are people just bonkers? Like, it still boggles my mind to this day that this set is being priced the way it is, and it's almost like a Rodney Dangerfield no respect for 18 and 20 stuff. Like, you can get purples and oranges for under $20. Like, I don't get that. Logically, if it's older, right, and it's a I don't want to compare art, so I won't do that. But if it's an older set and it's harder to obtain because it's gone, why is something from 18 and 20 not appreciated nearly as much as the 16 and underappreciated versus the most current set?
Yeah.
Understand that modern collector mindset.
Yeah. I think it's everyone wants it now. Everyone wants to build their set, which is why I think you need to be patient. I think there's an element of that. I think the fact is there's probably more people now after it as well. I think the audience is bigger for
Right, but if
whatever
the audience
reasons.
comes in, but if the audience comes in and it's bigger, at some point they have to do the same thing I did, right? Because I came in at 18 and I was like, oh, there was a 2016, there was a
Mm,
Jusco set. Holy shit, I need to get them. So are we allowed to
mm.
curse? Well, I did.
Oh, I have
Um,
been.
um, Holy shit, I need to get that. So I went back and got
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
At some point, these guys that have just gotten here have to look back and say, oh, there's a 2018, there's a 2020, there's a
yeah.
2016, and those need to they should follow the market and increase in some way, but they don't. And
No,
I'm glad they don't because it gives me the opportunity to get more of it.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
But at the same time, there are, again, like I said earlier, there are cards that I bought that I thought I'd be able to make a penny on here and there and get back some money, and it just doesn't happen.
yeah,
And I don't understand it. I don't understand the modern
yeah.
new there's thought process and how it doesn't.
I think
Um,
I think the pool of people that actually do that trickle down thing is relatively small. I definitely saw it on 2020 when that came out. There were people that did go after the 2018 Simone set, but I can't say that there were masses of them. I did see it
Right.
happen. So I think it will happen. I think people are still this set's got a little bit more going on with it. I think people are still very much in this set. Um, and it's still got that kind of created scarce. I mean, all of it's created scarcity. It's all created, but it's still got that, that parallel, that limited numbering. There's more of that going on. So I think that's going to keep people busy and focused for a little bit. Um, and not all of them have got undisposable income. So I think, undisposable. What do I mean by that? I chose the
Indisposable.
wrong word. Unlimited disposable income is what I meant. I just missed out half of it. I think that's kind of, I think it's cooled a bit because people have suddenly like, yeah, I'm a bit tapped out is the sense I'm getting at the moment from people, which is why hearing from Grant that EPAC was likely to be after, into early 24, I think will be a relief for a lot of people because I'm about halfway through my base set. I've got about four of the canvas now,
Right.
maybe three or four holofoils, three or four battle. So I've got like a hook in each element of it. I think I've got three of the 9 purple tier 4, but I'll just wait because there's
Yeah.
no way I'm going to pay more for a regular Spider-Man canvas, which is printed in exactly the same quantity as the regular Hulk and the regular Black Widow canvas. I'm just not going to do that at this stage. I'll
Correct.
just wait.
Correct.
I
That's part
mean,
of it too. People need to kind of
yeah,
hold out
yeah,
in some aspects. Say, I'm
yeah,
not going to. Yeah.
yeah. And yeah, partly I haven't really got the option. What I could spend on the set to acquire the elements I've done so far, and I've done a fair few trades. To be fair, I haven't bought all I've got. Um, but the 3 purples kind of finished me off for a little bit. They weren't that much, but I've not got massive spending power. So you've kind of Donny Courtrider, bless him, taught me this phrase, and I use it a lot now. But it's like the whole "How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time."
Very
Is
true.
kind of very much my complete and utter approach to most things at the moment. I would say that's one. When you look back in your life, and I can pull out maybe 5 or 6 moments where someone gave me a line of advice or a phrase that I'd never heard before, and it shapes you and it just speaks to you.
For sure.
That's one of those. That's one of those. And one of the other ones being networking is only one vowel away from not working.
Oh, that's a good one.
You see? Um, uh,
Mine
w-
is mine is from my grandfather, and he said, "Don't sweat the small stuff." And he said, "It's all small stuff."
nice, nice. I like that. Um, one of my other ones is go on, you might get hit by a bus tomorrow. Have a fag. Which of course I say in jest. Um, but it is, but it kind of because it's about the fact that yeah, you might be gone tomorrow, so enjoy your
So
vice.
live it. Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you
live
live
it.
it, just do it. Which is what I always like. This is where enjoy collecting came from at the end of the episode. Have you heard of Chris Hardwick, the comedian who did the oh, he's done loads of stuff, but he did a podcast called The Nerdist for years.
I
He
know the
also
Nerdist.
yeah, and he also used to present the kind of Talking Dead show that was on
Oh
after
yeah,
The
yeah, yeah,
Walking
I know
Dead.
who you
Yeah,
mean
yeah,
now.
yeah. Chris Hardwick. At the end of each episode of his podcast, he always had the guests say, "Enjoy your burrito." And I've borrowed bits from here, there, and everywhere for this podcast, and that's one of the elements I like because he was basically saying, just enjoy that moment, just be in that moment and enjoy your burrito. So that's where enjoy collecting comes from. It's just like anyway. Um, we went all philosophical there, didn't we, Keith?
We
I've got
did.
absolutely no idea. Do you feel better for having kind of shared your frustrations? Are you still feeling lost?
You
Do
know
you
what?
see a path of light?
I might owe you a couple dollars because this was a therapy session,
Yeah.
in some aspects, right? You didn't have the fancy couch for me, but that's partially my own fault. I should have put myself on a
Uh,
fancy couch.
that's quite all right. I can offer a foot rub. Um,
But it doesn't change.
it's still difficult. I won't lie to
Right,
you. It is still
right,
difficult.
right.
Can I share something else? I want to do an episode about this, and I've asked some of the guys on it. So I don't think you're in this, but about 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, Marvel Annual 2021 dropped. Or was it 21-22? I think it's 21-22. Dropped
21,
on EPAC. DeForest K. Torres, not sure what the K stands for. Sterling Gen, not too far from you, actually. I think he might be, I want to say he might be Staten Island. I might be wrong. Anyway, he's
don't tell me
just
that.
about,
That's gonna be my boy.
yeah, no, I think he's about, he works for the New York Police Department. I think he's either just or he's about to retire from it and go off and do something else. And before that, he was in the forces. Anyway, DeForest set up a chat group via MTCW, and then people who wanted to be in it. There's about all of a sudden there's about 30 to 40 collectors in a group chat on Messenger, all helping each other with the base digital base, so that they could get to the magentas and then they could get to the greens
Gotcha.
for the characters they were going for. And it was a blissful, I say it was, because very few of the people in that group are still working on it because everyone was helping each other so far. Most people were able to foil up, in a week or under, because people would be like, okay, I know this person's after this character. I'll trade them that and then I'll take some digital base. And people were just like sharing with each other. So I'm with Annual, because I'm a crazy mofo character collector. It doesn't sound like you are.
So,
Black
but here's the
Black
thing, like,
Black Cat was on the back of 4 cards. On the
oh,
back of 4 cards. She didn't have a card in the set. She was on the back of 4 cards. So of course I have to go after Iron Man. I have to go after Venom. I have to go after Thena. I have to go after White Fox. Okay. Because that's my goalposts. She visually appears on the card. Okay. In whole or in part, which I don't think I've ever seen a card where just her foot is there. So I've never tested that theory. But what the reason I bring it up is because it was a really hobby affirming experience because everyone was just helping each other out.
so you mean that you created a sub chat that's supposed to be how the group operates?
I didn't create it. DeForest Torres did, but to all intents and purposes, yes, he chose to set up a chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Keith, talk to me about how you think the hobby health is at the moment in general.
Uh, I'm concerned because there are key people that I see that are leaving left and right. I don't, I don't know. Like, I used to go on often and check out just in the groups and this, that, the other thing,
Mm-hmm.
what was going on, and I don't anymore. I stick to my circle of my 3 to 5 people that I mess with.
Yeah.
Uh, because it just became frustrating, whether it be pricing, whether it be the way behaviors are happening or what's going on here and there. It just became a bad headspace for me to concern myself
Yeah.
with how other people are behaving. And in my business, I dealt with this. As a restaurant operator, I dealt with my standard of how I want to work and understanding that my employees will not live up to that at all times, but getting the most I'll get out of them. I still struggle with that in the hobby, and that I know how I want to conduct myself and how I expect everyone else to conduct themselves, and they won't.
Mm.
And I need to I need to work on separating my headspace from that because it frustrates me that people won't operate at the same level I will in
Mm.
the as far as health. I mean, we've got a bevy of products coming out finally. There was a while where there was, the floodgates were closed, and that also created behaviors that weren't good. And now we're just seeing product, 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 and people are going to do what they're going to do, and it's up to us to disseminate what's good for us and what's not good
Yeah.
for us, and hope for the best in people. That's all you can do, right? It,
Mm-hmm.
hope that we have fun collecting, um, and not turn it into a profiteering, venture. And that's the biggest thing that's hurt sports collecting and things like that, is that they are all for profit, and that's it. And our hobby should be more about collecting and getting what you want and helping each other get there. But unfortunately, things have happened that change that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
a financial aspect. As I spoke before, I don't understand the modern collector and why they think that this should fetch more money than that, because there's all sorts of things that just factor into it. Um, I see why you're not modding for sure, because the health is not there. But I have hope, right? I'll always
Mm-hmm.
have hope. If I don't have hope, then what's the point? So, oh God, it sounds so bleak the way I portray it. Um, I'm going to keep collecting the way I collect and find ways to enjoy it. I'm going to keep working with people I like. And that's the best I can do, right? That circle of 3 to 5 people is really important to me at this
Yeah.
point. And that's the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I learned. Um, and they don't even collect the same way I do, right? But it's 3 to 5 people that I met during this whole journey that I can talk to about anything. I can tell them
Yeah.
I'm looking for this. I can tell them I'm looking for that. And I know they're not going to take advantage of me. And if they find something, I'll be the first one that they tag on it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's important. That's where the real health of the hobby comes from. And
Yeah.
I hope everyone finds that. If you're out there on your own on an island, it's tough,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right?
Well, you've got to find that's what I've said this before, and people probably listen to this regularly, probably sick of me repeating it. But you've got to find I was talking about this with who was talking about Eugene actually. You've got to find your network. You've got to find your um people that will help you out, people that you trust. Having that kind of trusted platoon is the way to think about it. I do anyway. I think
And
it's
and health
important.
health health of the hobby depends on yourself too.
Well,
It
yeah,
depends. It depends on yourself and how
yeah.
you want to treat it and how you want to collect and what you want to put yourself through, and
Hmm.
not overstretching yourself and putting yourself upside down in something just because you thought you were going to ROI on it. Again, another lesson I learned. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I ripped a considerable amount of X-Men metal and put myself upside down at one point.
Mm.
Um, but I figured that all out and I'm good with it. And I gained amazing friends from that. Those
Yeah,
experiences were, you know, I'll never get that back.
yeah,
And
exactly.
ROI, I've got great friends that I can rely on. So that's
Exactly. Doesn't have to be a financial return.
yeah.
Yeah. No, good, good. All right. As we've mentioned him on this episode, would you like Huy Troung to be the intro artist
Huh,
for the audio version of this episode?
my God, would I love that.
Because we have him in the bag and it kind of feels appropriate, seeing as your sketch collecting journey began with one of his pieces.
Do you want me to grab it? I have it pretty close to me.
If you would like to grab it, I'm sure the folks on the good old tube of you would like to see it. Every time it swivels that way, I see X23 on the desk behind you and think, there she is.
It's all over the place on the desk.
That's all right. That's all right. This is what they know in the trade as dead air, but we'll get through it. We'll
You know
get
what?
through it.
I'm gonna be. Oh, got it.
Why have I got that card put aside? No idea.
I've got it.
Oh, my anticipation is killing me. And now your camera's frozen. Oh no, no, oh, it's on its way back. Is it back? No. Ah. Hey. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh.
So that's the first sketch I pulled.
Wow. I like.
And I'll tell you right now, on the odds of pulling sketches, you're not gonna pull you're not gonna pull something like that on the
No, no,
first.
no. You're really not. You're really not.
Very rarely,
That's a. That's what they know in the trade as a banger.
right?
Nice. Nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
yeah. And I remember the first time I pulled it, I put it to the side. I was like, whatever, and I went to the next thing I was doing, and then I went back and looked at what I had, and I was like, oh wow, I didn't know what it was. You know what I mean?
Right. Okay. I'm with you.
I had no clue what it was.
Yeah.
So it was even cooler after the fact that I realized I'm like, oh my God, this is not, there's no gloss on this, no nothing. This
Yep.
isn't a card. This is actually created by the artist, by an
Yeah.
artist.
Nice. So Huey will be at the top of this episode, and I will put his link on the tasting notes because I can't for the life of me remember what his Instagram is at the moment. But that's where you will find it. Keith, where can people find you on social media? You got an Instagram?
I have an Instagram. It's XXRonusXX.
Okay.
And I have transformed it from being just strictly memes to once a week I post one of my sketches that I've collected over this time. So the way it works is I have so many X23 sketches that I don't want to just turn it into an X23 feed. It's a
Mm.
sketch feed. So every three non X23s buys me a chance to show another X23.
Oh, fair enough. All right.
So I'll show a Cyclops. I'll show a this because I'll collect any sketch if I like it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, so that's what I do, and you can check them out, and maybe there's something you like there, but it's not for sale. None of the sketches are ever for sale.
You heard it here first, folks. Um, Keith, keep the faith because I love having you in the hobby, and the hobby needs more people like you in it, quite frankly. I love your refreshing take and honesty and perspective. Like I said at the beginning, when everyone else is losing their heads, you tend to be the voice of reason. Um,
You know
so
that it's about a half hour to an hour before I vent to you, right? Because I've already lost my head, and instead
that's
of posting it, I take a step back,
yeah.
and then I reach out to you often.
No, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome. My phone is always receiving messages, whether I read them or not. Or if I'm going to say this now because I think a few people think I'm a rude mofo. But quite often when I wake up, I'll get DMs from people, and I might have half a dozen to a dozen most mornings. Okay. I will read them while still lying on one side without my glasses on in a dark room
One
with my
eye
phone on
open.
the light, with one eye open. I'll read it and then I will forget about it for at least a day. And then I'll come back to it and go, oh fuck, someone messaged me. And then so if you message me, especially if it's overnight my time, I apologize if I'm not that quick at getting back to you. Um, but until I've got coffee in my system, I can't even type, let alone barely stand. So yes. So but feel free to rant at me anytime you like, Keith. You're more than your money's always good here, as the phrase goes.
You get me?
Um, do you do you want to do our customary sign off, Keith? Can I get you to get you to issue a wisdom sign off to our fellow collectors that are watching and listening?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm the guy for that, man.
You're playing hard to get now, aren't you? You're very much playing hard to get.
All I can say is, I love collecting, and I hope that you all continue to collect the way you want to, and enjoy yourselves and have fun doing it. That's all I can ask for.
Good, good. Well, that's absolutely fine by me, sir. Absolutely fine by me. Thanks for listening to the Marvel Card Collectors Podcast. Tasting notes and visuals for each episode can be found on our Facebook page. We're on most social media at the MCC Pod, and you can also watch the video of each episode recording on our YouTube channel. leave us a voicemail via our home on anchor.fm/MCCP. We're also on iTunes, Spotify, and all major podcast platforms. Please take a second to subscribe, like, and review our show wherever you find us. Our Facebook community is at MCCW, Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide, and MMC, Marvel Masterpieces Collectors. The great music we use on our audio version is called Rocket Power by Kevin MacLeod. Thanks to the collectors, artists, and creators who support the Marvel Cards Fan Collective. We'll see you next time, and remember, it's a small hobby but a fun one. Make mine Marvel and enjoy collecting.